Hello and welcome to a guide for Corki. Corki is a mid laner who can dish out insane amount of damage in the late game and often can outscale the enemy mid laner. By using his skills properly, you can be able to dish out an insane amount of damage and shred the enemy's armor. You can also impact the map and your surroundings by using your package and AoE abilities properly. In this guide, I'll be giving you his build, combos, abilities, runes, spells, and some tips and tricks for playing Corki properly. But right before we get into the guide, I just want to say I'm going to be doing my 100 subscriber giveaway video tomorrow. So if you don't want to miss out on a giveaway where you can win a free skin or coaching, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified as soon as it uploads. With that, let's get right into the video. Corki's passive allows him to receive packages from the base. Corki can pick it up and then has the ability to cast his second skill at a much farther range and deal much more damage. Out of combat, Corki gains movement speed for the next 60 seconds that he has with the package. A new package arrives every 100 seconds and you can see the cooldown on the bottom of your screen. The order that Corki wants to max out his skills in is usually first his first skill, and then his third skill, and then finally maxing out his second skill. For your second level, you can also get your second skill if you need a gap closer to finish off a low health enemy. But other than that, I would recommend taking his third skill. Corki's first skill is an AoE ability that deals damage. He can use this skill to safely CS during the laning phase, as well as deal a lot of poke and AoE damage in teamfights. This is the first skill that you want to level up, and also the first skill that you want to max out. The damage that he gets from this skill comes from 50% of his AD and 50% from his AP. Corki's second skill allows him to dash, leaving a zone behind him that deals damage for 3 seconds. This ability also enables him to go over walls. And when he has his package, this ability is enhanced and will allow him to travel much further, as well as deal knockback. Lastly, we have Corki's ultimate, Missile Barrage. This fires a missile dealing magic damage, and on every third missile, that missile will deal extra damage and also has increased range and blast radius. This skill is extremely great for poking enemies at level 5 and also dealing AoE damage with every third missile. Right below Corki's health bar, where you can see the different boxes. The red boxes mean that it's going to be a big one, while the yellow ones mean that it's going to be a normal missile. And a red missile comes every third missile, so keep that in mind. Corki's level 3 all-in is first using his first skill to poke the enemy. Now this can be used to hit the enemy while they're trying to last hit or CS, but then after, when you realize that they're low enough for you to all-in, you can use your second skill to be a gap closer, then your third skill to shred their armor, and then follow up with auto attacks until they die. You can also combine this with Ignite and Flash to make for a really nasty all-in. Corki's level 5 all-in, where he wants to deal maximum damage, is first using his ult to deal some poke, and then after that using your second skill to gap close onto the enemy, using your third skill to shred armor, then your first skill, an ult, and then auto attack. And this will deal a significant amount of damage and is pretty good for an all-in. You can also follow up with even more auto attacks to deal the maximum amount of damage. At full speed, it looks like this. Okay, so now we're going to be going into Corki's build. Corki's first item is Mana Immune. This is because he can run out of mana easily early game, and if you take Mana Immune, it allows you to take an extra rune for your third rune, but if you don't want to go Mana Immune and you want Triforce first for that attack damage and max health, and basically it's a more well-rounded item for Corki and a better item. However, if you want to take your third rune as something other than Mana Flow Band, I would highly recommend taking Mana Immune first. After that, you want to build Trinity Force. For max health, attack damage, attack speed, max mana, ability haste, this is just a great item for Corki and allows him to power spike after buying this item. After Trinity Force, you can be getting boot item, and for my boot item I would recommend taking a defensive one, so either Merc Treads or Ninja Tabby. So if you're up against 5 AP and a lot of CC, obviously you want to be taking the Mercury Treads, and if you're up against AD, you want to be taking Ninja Tabby. However, if there is an even split between AD and AP and you want a bit more sustain, then you can be taking Gluttonous Greaves, and this will give you 8% Omni Vamp, and this is actually pretty good with Corki. So you want to be considering those 3 boots. As for your enchant, I would normally recommend getting Stasis against assassins like Zed or Fizz, where they have high burst damage and you want to immune that by using the Stasis. However, you can also be going QSS if they have lots of crowd control, or Protobelt for that extra dash. And those are the different enchantments I would recommend. You could also take Teleport, but since you're already in the mid lane, it's pretty easy to get around the map. So be taking Teleport only during situations where you think you can get the most use out of it, as it has a 180-second cooldown, as well as not being able to help defend against crowd control or against assassins. So be very cautious when you take Teleport. Next item you want to be getting is Rapid Fire Cannon, and this item's pretty broken on a lot of different AD champions, and especially for Corki, as he can abuse that extra range that he can get, dealing damage from a safe distance and poking down those enemies. After Rapid Fire Cannon, you want to be getting 2 situational items. Now, for your 5th item, you can be getting Infinity Edge or any of the AD items that you feel are necessary in your situation. For example, if they have lots of healing, Mortal Reminder is a great item. If they have lots of assassins and people that can burst you down, Phantom Dancer, of course, is just a great item for that kind of stuff. And of course, you can take other situational items. If you want to know more about situational items and really understand the uses behind each item, you can go watch my itemization guide, as I explain everything in depth, including AD and AP and how to build against enemy team comps. With that being said, let's get into the last item. This is also a situational item. However, Guardian Angel is pretty good with him, as in the late game he can carry like crazy, and if you give him that extra sustain and armor and attack damage, it just allows him to just be in the fight for that much longer. And because he scales really well, Guardian Angel is a great item for him. Also, at the moment, Guardian Angel is absolutely broken on most AD champs, so I recommend getting it. However, if it gets nerfed, you can take one of the other situational items that I've already mentioned. With that, let's get into the spells and runes. For Corki's first spell, you want to be taking Flash, as Flash is a spell that's used for almost every champ in the entire game, and a spell that I highly recommend playing with and using. It's great for versatility and provides him with an escape tool. His next spell is Ignite. This is a more risky spell. However, if your enemy has lots of healing or lots of vamp, then Ignite is a great rune to take. It also gives you that extra bit of burst damage. You can also be taking Barrier if you're up against an assassin, and taking Barrier is completely fine, as if you get into the late game, you're even with your opponent. Since Corki scales really well, he'll most likely end up ahead of his opponent, as most mid laners don't scale as well as he does. For Corki's rune setup, I would recommend going Fleet Footwork for his Keystone rune, as when you move and attack, you'll build stacks, and at 100 stacks you'll gain increased movement speed and heal, which will help your sustain in lane. However, you can also go Electrocute if you want to for the extra burst and poke damage for every 3-hit combo that you deal. After that, for your next rune, you want to be taking either Brutal if you think that you need some damage right from the get-go, or you can be taking Hunter Vampirism if you think that you need that extra vamp and you think that you can snowball throughout the entire game. Next, for your third rune, you want to be taking a situational rune. For your third rune, you can go Regeneration if you want to restore missing mana and health, or you can also go Spirit Walker if your enemy champion is an assassin. This will enable you to gain a bit more sustain against those burst combos, as well as some tenacity against some slow. So if the enemy team has lots of crowd control, this is also a great rune to take. After that, for your last rune, I would recommend Sweet Tooth against Assassin, as this will give you more sustain and enable you to give up more CS. After that, you can also be getting a Mana Flow Band, because if you take this rune, then you can gain extra mana, as Corki has a mana problem, especially in the early game. If he does not take Manamune first item, I would highly recommend taking Mana Flow Band. My first tip for Corki is during the lane phase, you want to try to harass as much as you can with your first skill. It's great for wave clear and poke, so you want to be maxing that skill out first. And then when you're level 6, start poking the enemy as much as you can with your ultimate. And you can also buy an early Sheen to mix your auto attacks, empowered auto attacks, between your missiles. And then whenever you have your second skill ready, then you want to be looking to gank other lanes, because it can deal an insane amount of damage, and you can get into position to deal your burst damage with all your cooldowns. So be sure to be looking for those during the lane phase. After that, in team fights, you want to try to keep your distance and poke enemies with your ult. And if you have your package ready, then you might want to consider initiating with it, especially in choke points where the enemy has no choice but to be hit by it. If someone takes the full duration of it, it can be devastating. Also, you can use your second skill to jump back while they burn and then follow up with the rest of your kit. When you're in close range, you want to be sure to activate your third skill in team fights to deal extra damage and shred armor. This is really important, as it won't only help you deal extra damage, but your entire team to deal extra damage, and the enemy team's armor just to be absolutely shredded. So that's what you want to be looking to do with Corki in team fights. My last tip for you is to subscribe to my channel, because I spend a lot of time making this content. I woke up at 5 a.m. I went to sleep at 1 a.m. today, and then I woke up at 5 a.m. just to make this guide for you guys. So if you learn something or if you enjoy my content, then please drop a like and subscribe, because that would be really helpful and encouraging to me. Thank you so much for watching this video. These videos take a lot of time and effort to make. I woke up really early to make sure to get this guide out for you guys as soon as possible. So I would really appreciate a like or subscribe if you enjoy my content and you want to see more of these kind of things. This guide was made for you guys, and I just want to say I appreciate all the support I've been getting recently on the channel. It's just been amazing. And the giveaway video is gonna come out tomorrow, so I'm just really happy to be doing that and giving away a skin to one of you guys, because you guys have just been so amazing in your support and everything that you guys have been doing for me. Oh, if you have any questions or comments that you want to make for the video, then you can leave that in the comment sections below, and I will reply to you and get back to you as soon as I can. So any questions on the build or the champion in general, or if you have anything to say or insight that you have on Corki, leave that in the comments below so I can be seeing that. And by the way, some of the gameplay comes again from Wada Games channel, so if you want to watch that, you can check it out. There's a link in the description. And with that, I think that wraps up the video. I will see you soon. Bye!